Welcome to the 8 Billion Project, where we're on a mission to make an impact by discovering and sharing the purpose of every person on this planet. I'm your host, Liza Florida. Enjoy today's episode. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 8 Billion Podcast. I am your host, Liza Florida. And today I have a very, very special guest. She is a multidimensional embodiment mentor for the soul-led spiritual entrepreneur and the founder of the brand, The Expanded Soul Movement, a movement of women in community and sacred sisterhood who are devoted to healing themselves and stepping into their divine sovereign leadership so they can light up the world with their mission and their impact. She's also a sister of mine, part of the Sacred Femme Alchemy Sisterhood. So welcome, Kristi King Perras, to the 8 Billion Podcast. It is such an honor, and I am so sorry for having done that.
It's all good. I'm so happy to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, I am so stunted by your beauty, your radiance, and everything that, of course, I tripped over your name, but this is going to be an absolutely spectacular podcast. I know it for sure. I can feel it all over
Me
my
too.
body.
I'm already like tingly.
Right? We are like
Yeah.
buzzing.
We're already in the channel, so to speak.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so just to give the audience a little heads up on how of course, I just said that Kristi and I are part of a mastermind called Sacred Femme with Kristen Stewart, who is also on this season. And I've had the chance of being a part of this intimate container with five of us all together. But even just part of the Sacred Femme community, it's been absolutely spectacular. I'm telling you, Kristi, the last 2-3 months of my life was just all put together. Everything that I could never understand all came together in the last 2 to 3 months.
I know the feeling.
And then, of course, I just came back from Costa Rica and all of my sisters are like buzzing off my experience too. It's just this high frequency energetics that it could never have imagined going even into 2022 that all of this was going to happen.
Yeah, it's a trip right now. Being alive in this moment and in this time, I think I said that to you ladies this week. What a trip we're in and on. What an experience.
Absolutely. I mean, and here we go, because Kristi and I we bonded so quickly from just the very beginning, and we've had so many different conversations. She knows so many intimate things about my life. We share so many things in common, especially with our mothers. And so that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't even know if 1 hour is going to be good enough for us on this podcast, but we'll do our best. What I wanted to start with, though, Kristi, is could you share with us, because I don't think I even know this yet, but where did your whole journey start for you?
I'd love to share. I feel like I've been a seeker of truth and deeper meaning and deeper questions my entire life. My mother passed away when I was 2 of Hodgkin's disease, and in and out of the hospital for those 2 years that I was actually, born. And so my life, really, with living with grief and loss from a young age, has been about asking those bigger questions. I always like to say, like, just take me to the deep end right away. We can skip over the small talk. Like, I want to know about your traumas and your, like, right, what makes you who you are, and how aligned you feel, and all of these things. And so looking back in my life in hindsight, I really do see it's been a series of these beautiful events leading to this moment in time right now, where we're all being asked to ask those big questions of, who are you? Why are you here? What is this life all about for you, and what's your mission here? And that those really have been these, like, questions that I've thought of all along and been looking for, seeking, really truly. My dad remarried to the mom who raised me. They had 2 more kids, so big blended family. I really excelled at sports and school and taking on these leadership roles from a very young age. Went to school, captain of the varsity basketball teams, athletic teams, all these kinds of things. Graduated, went into the corporate world, climbed the corporate ladder, found my husband, married, had 2 kids, and the white picket fence, because these are all the things that you are supposed to do.
Right.
And so, and then I got to this point in my life, and my babies were young, like 2 and a newborn at home. And really actually having my eldest is 11. So it was 12 years ago that I was pregnant for the first time. And I remember the initiation, speaking of motherhood and initiations, I remember the initiation of motherhood and how much it cracked me open to my healing. There was so much healing that it gave me becoming a mother, having lost a mother at a young age. There's been so much healing for me and the grief I've walked with through being a mother to the 2 boys that I have. And that journey of an initiation of motherhood did lead me to more healing. That led me to really stepping into this life I'm living is out of alignment. It led me to leaving the corporate world and becoming an online entrepreneur. It led me to leaving my marriage. And here I am 6-7 years later. I think I told my sister, my baby sister, who was 11 months old when my mom passed away, today, I said, my life feels like a dream. Like right now, it feels like I'm living a dream that I had only imagined, So it's like these series of events. That gives you the short version in this condensed time period. And I love being alive in this time right now and doing the work that I do with the women that I do it with, because it does feel truly like we are living in a sacred, transformative time of ascension and awakening. And we are.
And we
really
are. No, and I want to, I want to piggyback on that and absolutely say that, because I even said that, I think in my last 2 podcasts I was recording today, I absolutely feel like I'm in a dream right now. Like my life has literally become a dream come true. And it feels like almost overnight. But you and I both know there was that series of that journey that we had to go through, everything all leading to one thing to the next, and then
that's it. It's like, you think it like happens this quickly, and that's it. It's like weaving and painting a story that when you look back in hindsight, you're like, oh my goodness, everything we thought that might have challenged us led us to who the version of ourselves we've become today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do want to reiterate that too, to the audience. Kristi she asked the deep questions. I think it was the first weekend that we met each other, and she's like, I want to have a personal conversation with you. And I just want to know everything about your journey. And she was so sweet, because I have, everyone that's listened to my podcast probably knows my journey now, but I thought it was just so sweet. And I have this, and I keep telling people, I don't know what it is. And maybe it's my last lifetime and I still have to figure it out. Everyone that I am so close to lives in Canada. I'm all like, I don't even my healer, Marissa, who's here in Irvine, in California, she's originally from Canada. So I was like, I either lived in Canada or we were part of a tribe. We've yet to discover that, Kristi. And I know you're going to help me figure this out.
We will. Well, we'll get those answers.
We will for sure. Most especially in our group right now. It is just, like I said, it is just high energetics. And if people were to look into it, people would be like, what goes on in that group? Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like words don't even need to be spoken, and we understand each other and where we're at. It's beautiful. I feel so honored to be in that space with you and Kristen and all the women.
Well, let me ask you another thing too, since we're such full disclosure, and this, I know that being open and talking about this might actually help an audience member out there. Like I lost my mother almost close to 4 years ago. And I know that's nothing in comparison to not having someone since you were 2 years old. Now, you did say that your father did marry. And so were you able to create a mother-daughter relationship with your stepmother?
I think to the extent that it could be created, but she was not, she played a mother role, but she wasn't my mother,
Mhm.
and I think I look at it now in my blended family with my fiance, who's a beautiful friend and mentor and role model to my boys, but he's not their father,
Yeah.
and so yes, she did the best she could, they did, but really we're talking about a generation who, um how can we say this, like emotional understanding, with the, like we didn't talk about our feelings then,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so I think I've swung very far the other way of now, especially in the last decade of my life, since becoming a mother, literally become the initiation into motherhood from, if we think of the archetypes of the woman, the maiden, the mother, the wild woman, and the crone, it
Mhm.
is an initiation, and not having a birth mother or to feel like you have that, that connection of support when you're going through something that big. It was there, but it wasn't the same. And I think that longing and that desire, and this is, we can talk about this, the mother wound, um and sisterhood wound, even, that we
Mhm.
experience as women. And I do feel like a lot of my journey and healing over the last decade of being a mother and my spiritual connection to my mother now, and it's, I can access her and her love
Mhm.
at any time, and so as much as the physical relationship isn't there, the spiritual one has just deepened, and she's very much alive in
In
in my
everything.
in everything, in my
Mhm.
heart, in my boys. Like, they speak of her and feel her, and did from a young age, and still do, and it's her legacy, it's her legacy carrying on.
Yeah, and it's something about, and I just journeyed in Costa Rica, and that's all about Pachamama, and it's all about Mama Gaia. One thing that for me that happened was the first year after my mom's passing, and the lack of her physical presence was definitely hard. But as I started to progress in my spirituality, I understood she was everywhere. It was, and sometimes even just generationally or culturally, we believe that they are in the cemetery. And so we visit it. And you see that like with the big occasions. But you start to realize when you go on this journey, like that's just where their physical body was held. They're everywhere. And
Mhm.
as even understanding we're multidimensional. I mean, when I found out, when I did readings on my mom and I heard she went to, and she was telling me that she had visited New Orleans and she went to Mardi Gras. I was just like, that is amazing. Yet, how do you visit the rest of the world and then still watch over all of us? Like there's three of us in the family, and then my son, and my mom still has the ability to be anywhere and everywhere. It's just the most beautiful thing, and we do too.
Yeah, right. and
That's
like and like
that's
I think
where that's where me, Kristi, and the sisterhood were like, yeah,
like
you
I think you know
guys.
the answer to that question. It's very zippy. We're very zippy.
Yes, exactly.
And
But
they are too. Yeah.
yeah, but it's completely led you to where you do the work you do today. So that's what I wanted to talk about with you. I mean, I know you from the sisterhood side, from alchemy. But then
Hmm.
you on your end and your work and your mission, you do the same thing for other women. So could you share that a little bit more about that work that you do?
Absolutely. I'd love to. So I'm the founder of the Expanded Soul Movement, which really was this dream and this soul calling and passion of connecting women in sisterhood. I felt very alone in various stages of my journey of homecoming and reclamation and healing, and And my online entrepreneurial career did lead me to building community in the network marketing space. And what I found, well, the part I loved the most about that industry was the coaching and the mentorship part. But we were coaching and mentoring in how to build, how to build these businesses online. And there was something always that was missing, which was, how to connect to who you are and how to bring that forward in everything you do in your life, in your relationships, in your business, in your wealth, in your career. And business will skyrocket when your foundation of being comfortable with speaking on camera and being visible and being able to show up and not being afraid and all the wonderful things that come with entrepreneurship. So it really is like clearing out these fears and the stickiness that we hold on to, that we allow to get in our own way of fulfilling what our mission is. And really the thing that I love the most is in these, in the mentorship or the masterminds or these gatherings of women where it's this space where we can use our voices and not be judged. It's like finally where, whether it's past lifetimes or whether we've carried these wounds for this lifetime. And so because of that, we haven't spoken up or we haven't shown our real selves. It's a space where women can come home to themselves. And in doing that, in being held and being seen by sisters and women, we heal. And when we heal, we can connect to the divine mission and calling of our soul's purpose. And when we connect to that, we all take off and we all rise in our power as women. And this is men too, because they're rising with us. And we're healing. As much as we're healing and rising in our feminine, we're also healing and rebalancing our masculine as well.
That's a whole podcast in its own.
I know. I'm like ... Do we segue? But it's literally the work of my soul. And I mean, we dive into all the things: manifestation, boundaries, feminine leadership, sensuality, reclaiming the goddess that lives within. We gather in retreats. We talk about money and wealth. We, reclaim. In a lot of ways, we're releasing control in a lot of areas where we felt we've needed to grip so tightly. But with our nervous systems, it's like, we can release there too. But let's bring our nervous systems back into balance.
No, absolutely. I've been, and we talked about that in our mastermind this week. It's been the last few weeks. I mean, I'd wake up and all I kept telling myself was, you can just control your nervous system, because that's where it starts. It consciously starts from those waking and sleeping moments. But yeah, I mean, and especially what's been happening in the energetic field for the last 2 months. I am telling you, audience, having this sisterhood has kept me, because at one point I was like, am I going to die?
Like, am I even on planet Earth anymore?
That's what I was going to say.
Happening?
I'm like, I'd be in the safety of my own home. And I'm like, am I going to die? Am I going to die? Because it was just massive internal shifts that we are all experiencing. And I'm so glad that I have this platform to interview and to connect with like Kristi and these guests. So then you, the audience, can hear what you potentially might have been experiencing, but not consciously aware of.
Yeah. The physical bodies are being asked so much right now with everything happening planetarily.
Yeah. Absolutely. And then Kristi also has a deep affinity to like her. This is what I wanted to ask you, Kristi. I mean, as we connect for everything from like the indigenous all the way to the star systems and star families. For you, what has been your greatest connection in remembrance on your journey?
I love that question. Honestly, the connection to my mother, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say, like through the healing I've done there, but then also to the divine mother and Mother Earth. Um, you know, I think the channel of divinity is really right. That channel of source, that channel of divinity is what clears the way for the remembrance to come through. I
Mm-hmm.
have had some plant medicine experiences as well that have also been very, very much felt like initiations. Mentorship and investing in my growth
Mm-hmm.
has been a big part of my journey as well, with the wonderful Kristen, as well as other coaches along the way. But it really has been, for me, it's an experiential thing. It's like when I can experience it and take the lessons from it and then embody it. So it's very much a living, breathing practice of embodiment and devotion.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. So, this is the first time in 8 billion history that we are going to be doing a part two. and what happened yesterday was Kristi and I were in the middle of recording, and I had to cut the recording short because of a situation that happened with my son. And of course, there's no one I would have rather had this experience with than my own sister, Kristi, because we understand and know what's going on right now. And she was just so amazing to be able to give me that time, because she's like, go take care of your mama duties. And spoken from a true Taurus, because my son's a Taurus. So there's a lot happening in the energetic field right now for a lot of these Tauruses, including yourself, Kristi.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could feel all of that. So I just wanted to let the audience know this is as raw as it's going to get. And I think that this is amazing to be able to do this on podcasts and just share what's happening right now.
This is real life, right? Like this is, and in this energy of true sisterhood and hearing, I'm sure, like hearing it, what needed to happen there, it was okay, this is not what we're supposed to be doing in this moment. Your son needs you.
Mm-hmm.
This is where you're supposed to be, and we will figure it out. And this is it. It's receiving that love from sisters, from the divine,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can go and give the love to your son that was needed. And I felt so strongly, I know we were speaking about both of our journeys with our mothers and with having lost them, and then also all the energy we're experiencing right now from the divine mother and the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And it very much felt like it was present yesterday, all of those
Yes.
energies.
The theme and the potent energies is all about the divine mother, especially coming back from Costa Rica. And then having done the plant medicine and really connecting to Mother Earth, it's like I feel so connected right now. But it's so funny though, too, Kristi. We were talking about the nervous system yesterday, and literally my son was panting at the door. I'm not too sure if it's going to be in the last podcast edit, but if you do hear it, that's what you guys got to see it in real life. And I won't go into the details right now because there's just so much, like so much moving through this space right now, right? And you could feel that. And that's what I wanted to ask you, Kristi, like most especially in your coaching business, as you're coaching a lot of these women through these potent energies, like what is coming up on that field for you guys right now?
There's this big, I mean, we talked about nervous system yesterday after kind of after we hit pause on the recording, but it did come up in our podcast in the first part as well. But that is definitely a theme right now. I think our physical bodies, I know our physical bodies, because I am experiencing it as well, are being asked to move through so much shifting of energy. And it's a call back to the earth. It's a call back to the waters, to ground. It's a call back to a simpler way of being. And it's a call back to rest, which I actually think women, so what I see a lot with my clients is the more they rest, the more rest they need. And I think it's because it's almost like we've just kept functioning without giving ourselves the time for our bodies to catch up to what is being asked of our physical bodies. Is this resonating?
Yes, it's absolutely resonating. And I'm glad that you said that, because prior to me recording, I went and took my morning walk, and you know that I'm leaving to go film, right? So depending on where this is all, when this is all going to be launched, you guys, I'm leaving to film my documentary, heavily anchored in climate change and the water. And so after coming back from doing plant medicine, I know that we're all connected. I had to say my prayers and offerings to the water, the element of water, to, give her blessings, because it is a live being. It is a frequency, and we're all here. And then we're also made up of water. It's all connected. It's so interesting how this is all coming up. And you're absolutely right. The divine feminine is truly asked, like we are asked to continuously surrender and rest, because our bodies are going through so much change right now.
I don't know if you saw my stories this morning, but literally that was the call that I received this morning. In my morning routine, there's some element of movement, and I considered doing a gym workout today, but I was called to the waters and called to walk down to the river and on my property, and so there's that. This is I've recently moved into a new home with more land near the water, and my nervous system has never felt as aligned, balanced, at ease, peaceful, calm as it has. And we're 1 month into this new space now, moving from a very high density city area to more space and more nature. And so I was called down to the water and literally was called into a bath before I started my calls today. So yes. And really, I feel like the water is that feminine, softer, flowing way, right? It is such a cleansing and purifying. For me, it grounds me in my channel, and my channel becomes more clear when I get called station today, that we're being asked of me to just rest, not go to the gym, take a moment, be in the waters, receive.
It's amazing. See how connected we are, audience? Her and I are sisters. I didn't even know you posted that. And I don't know if you noticed that I posted that this morning. It was just, no, see, I'm telling you, this is the connection we all have. And I mean, Kristi's from Canada, and I told you, like, I don't know what it is about Canada. I probably lived a past life there, but I'm so connected to the women in Canada right now. I've yet to discover what past life or connection runs deeper, and I'm sure it's going to reveal itself in the next year. I mean, months and years. So it's incredible. You're absolutely right. In my elements too, I'm fire. I'm a sun fire. And then my moon is Aquarius, so it's air. My rising is Taurus, so it's land. And the only thing missing is water. And it's interesting how my documentary is all based on water right now. It's just, you know what I'm saying? It's like we're becoming the land, Kristi.
Yeah. And I think it was around Earth Day that I saw or read, it's like the earth doesn't belong to us. We are of the earth, right? Yeah. Belong to the earth. And I thought that was so beautiful. And there definitely is a call back to the land right now.
Yes. And so this time frame is asking so much of us right now. There are moments, like even till now, I admit this, and we're already in Taurus season, it still feels like so much is shifting a lot. Like timelines are collapsing like crazy. Like things that would happen that would take years for us is happening in days. And I know that Kristen talks about that with us. And I'm not too sure if you're feeling that or if you feel a little bit more anchored in, because yes, you do have a beautiful new home. So congratulations on that one.
Thank you. I do feel that feels very resonant to me. Like the concept of time right now, I'm not sure what it is. It or I don't have one is
Yes.
maybe a better way to describe it. It's almost like time's gone out the window. And you're right, things are collapsing, and I think it's an invitation to be very mindful of your thoughts and your words, because the dreams and the visions and the manifestations are happening so fast, and so our words are spells that we cast out.
No, you're 1,000% correct. Because even listening to a lot of the people in our industry, right? They're all like, right now, this is your highest timeline. There is no, like, sometimes it's hard to even choose. You just got to keep ascending because everything is coming into focus. And I remember telling you guys that when I was in plant medicine, that's exactly what I was seeing was the old earth leaving and the new one, and it's like kind of like merging. That's like the dimensions that I saw. And so they're all like, give it a little bit of time as this settles, but right now everything's just merging. So you've got to be very like particular with your words, with your emotions, with everything. You've just got to keep surrendering. And I'm not too sure if that's resonating with you.
Yeah, it is. And I'm noticing this in the women I work with and in our conversations and our sacred circles and gatherings as well. And there's this message that feels really resonant right now about everybody is navigating this time on their own unique path, their own unique timeline. And so it's not your job, it's not our job to speed up the path for other people. Our job is to be in that steady devotion to our own path and be mindful of how we react and respond. And so when we're reacting to someone who may not be as far along on the path, or but again, everyone's on their own exact right timing on their path of awakening. So when we may feel fiery or triggered or reactive, it's the opportunity to stay on the path you are on instead, and to choose the reaction or the response from a place of love, and to choose the response from a place of the high frequency, right, instead of reacting.
100% again, because it even brought me back to the reaction yesterday with Tristan. And I was like, calm down, because the more you feed that energy field, the more we're going down that road. And so you're absolutely right. And I'm so glad I'm all like, I'm going to let you speak because I know exactly what you were talking about. Because I was like, that's going to be my best timestamp moment of this podcast. Because it's true. Because our dreams are coming into our own frequency and reality. And imagine we're close to 8 billion people. How is this all happening for so many of us, right? This new earth that's coming into focus or in birthing into our vision. And yet it's different for many other people right now. So if you're in the audience and you are wherever you are on your timeline, understand that this is what's happening. And you've just got to be very clear with your thought process, remove the dissonance and remove everything that doesn't serve you anymore, because we're moving into this new earth.
And patient with yourself, right? Being patient with yourself. And patience isn't something in my human design as a manifest generator that I'm particularly great at. So I like to make quick decisions and move very quickly. And so slowing myself down has been a practice. And being patient and kind and leading from the heart in your responses to everyone, because we are all navigating our own unique individual path, and love is the way, always. So when you have that choice to respond from love or to react from your triggers or your unhealed parts of yourself, pause and be patient and recalibrate and bring that equilibrium back in, so that when you respond, it's responding from the heart space and responding from love and responding from your higher self.
Yes, absolutely. I couldn't agree. That's why I know we're sisters, because we're holding this frequency for all of humanity.
Oh yeah. And I was sending it all to you and Tristan yesterday.
Yes,
like
we're
just blasting you guys. I literally was like, go. And then just the blasting of that graceful love from the Divine Mother.
Yes. And I absolutely felt it, because Kristi and I were messaging each other, and I was like, and I think she knew, because I was probably taking on the frequency of my son. And after Kristi said something to me, I was like, I feel so much more grounded right now. So thank you, especially coming from, like I was going to say, a Taurus, right?
Yeah, that's my Taurus energy. And I really strongly felt, to bring this full circle as we probably get close to wrapping up, is I felt our mothers. We were speaking of the connection to our mothers in spirit form when this happened. And what a beautiful moment to practice what we were just speaking of, responding from love in our human experience, where this is what we talk about. It's like we just want to hang out in the bliss and the tingles and the, oh my gosh, this feels so good to be experiencing life at this time. And then there are all the 3D things of life that, as mothers, as business women, as CEOs, as partners, as all the things that we do, that we get to move in and out of.
Absolutely. But my goodness, I can't believe we probably went through years and lifetimes in just this podcast alone.
It feels that way.
It does, right? But I just want to say thank you, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart, for being a part of this most precious season for myself, as we blast out this message of anchoring love into, of course, the universe, as we make our way to unity consciousness. Now, I do have one last question for you before we end this, and before I have everyone connect, before you share how everyone can connect with you. This is what I want to say, is that, that this is going to be a time capsule of human consciousness. And so if someone were to come across this particular video, maybe 50 years, 100 years from now, in this very amazing time in human history, what would you like to say to them?
Ooh, what a potent question. To return to love. There's so much division and separation in the field right now. To return to love, to return to oneness, to return to the earth. And that all is unfolding as exactly as it's supposed to be. So to not fear, to surrender and trust, to love and to receive, and to answer the call of what's being asked of you.
Oh, so beautiful. So beautiful. Couldn't have been articulated more beautifully by a secret sister.
I'm pretty sure that was channeled. So I don't know if that was that was the message that wanted to come through, whether it was me or.
But Kristi, thank you so much. If there is anyone in the audience, of course, that would love to learn more about your work or connect with you, what was the best way to get a hold of you?
Thank you. Well, and thank you so much for this time together. I felt so honored that you asked and invited me and to be a part of your mission and with what you're doing with the 8 Billion Project. It's so big, and I'm honored to be a small part of it and walking beside you and witnessing you as you answer your call. So beautiful. So thank you. And I'm on Instagram is probably the place I hang out the most at Kristi King Perras is the best way to connect with me.
Awesome. So to the audience, if you didn't catch that, I will have it in the description box and all of my socials. But Kristi, again, from the bottom of my heart, I thank you. You will always have this platform to come here and speak your voice and share your wisdom and your highest truth. And to the audience who tuned in this episode with Kristi King Perras, thank you so much for joining us on this episode. And I look forward to having you tune in on the next episode of the 8 Billion Podcast. Thank you for listening to today's episode of the 8 Billion Podcast. If it's moved you in any way, please share your thoughts or give us a review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. To listen to more episodes, go to 8billionpodcast.com, or to learn more about our mission, go to 8billionproject.com.